Folks, if you've experienced similar situations or know someone around you who has, write them in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and share to support us for more of these stories. When Soldier Jake, serving at Area 51, saw the horrific experiments being conducted on humans in the secret laboratory, he experienced the most terrifying moment of his life. But what he saw was just the beginning. Located in the middle of the Nevada desert, 150 kilometers from Las Vegas, Groom Lake Military Base is one of the most secretive facilities in world history. Although its official name is Homey Airport, everyone knows it as Area 51. Operating since 1955, this facility hosts the most classified projects of the CIA and United States Air Force. Staff Sergeant Jake Morrison, 29 years old, came from Detroit, Michigan. When he was assigned to Area 51 in 2018, he thought he would only perform duties related to experimental aircraft testing. He had top-secret security clearance and had never received disciplinary action during his 8-year military career. He was a perfect soldier. His first 6 months at Area 51 passed relatively normally. Jake's duty was to provide runway security during test flights and was responsible for hangar security of classified aircraft. He had seen U-2 spy planes, F-117 stealth fighters, and other experimental aircraft. Strange but explainable things. The base's structure was quite complex. At ground level, there were runways, hangars, and administrative buildings. But the real facility was underground. Jake's security clearance only provided access to Level 1 and Level 2. Level 3 and below were need-to-know basis and required much higher clearance. Jake's life changed in February 2019. That night, he was doing routine security patrol. Around 2:30, while walking around underground Level 2, he noticed that one of the elevators had buttons going down to Level 7. This was strange, because as far as Jake knew, there were sub-levels only up to Level 5. Overcome by curiosity, Jake got on the elevator and pressed the Level 7 button. The doors closed, but the elevator didn't descend. The biometric scanner activated, and a voice came, "Unauthorized personnel. Access denied." Jake immediately got off the elevator, but now had questions in his head. What was Level 7? Why was it never mentioned? In the following days, Jake began conducting careful research. In casual conversations with other soldiers, he asked questions about the lower levels. Most knew nothing about below Level 5, but one senior sergeant, Mike Rodriguez, warned very quietly, "Jake, it's better not to know some things. Trust me." This warning increased Jake's curiosity even more. What was happening at Area 51? In mid-March, Jake had to go down to Level 3 due to a maintenance request. There was a problem with the electrical system, and they sent Jake because of his electronic warfare background. On Level 3, there was equipment of a type he had never seen before. High-tech laboratory equipment, strange metallic containers, and very powerful refrigeration units. The strangest part was that the windows of some lab rooms were blocked from inside, as if no one should see inside. While Jake was completing the electrical repair, he began hearing strange sounds from the corridor. It sounded like human voices, but different, as if distorted, electronic. Sometimes it resembled screaming. Probably audio test equipment, Jake thought, but it disturbed him inside. In April, Jake was given an unexpected assignment. Dr. Elena Vasquez was one of the base's lead scientists and requested personal security escort from Jake. He needed to escort Dr. Vasquez to Level 6. Level 6 was a place Jake had never been before. When they got on the elevator, Dr. Vasquez looked very tense. "Sergeant Morrison," she said, "you mustn't share what you see with anyone. National security matter? Yes, ma'am. Understood. When they descended to level 6, Jake was shocked. This was a massive laboratory complex. Dozens of lab rooms, sophisticated medical equipment, and most importantly, test subjects. When Jake looked at the first chambers, he froze. There were humans inside, but not normal humans. Their skin color was unnatural, grayish, almost metallic. Their eyes were very large and completely black. Their bodies were emaciated, but their heads were disproportionately large. "Ma'am," Jake whispered, "those are classified, Sergeant. You see nothing." But Jake was seeing a lot. The test subjects were conscious and looking at Jake. There was intelligence in their eyes. There was fear and recognition, as if they knew him. Dr. Vasquez escorted Jake through different lab rooms. In each room were test subjects at different stages, some more human-looking, others completely transformed. The most disturbing part was witnessing the transformation process in one room. A normal human subject was connected with IV tubes, and an unknown serum was being injected. Jake watched as the person's skin color changed, eyes dilated unnaturally, and facial structure began to alter. The subject began screaming, but was sedated, and the sound was muffled. "My God," Jake muttered. Dr. Vasquez heard, "A Sergeant, this is humanity's future. We are accelerating evolution. Ma'am, these people, they're American citizens, aren't they?" "We're, Sergeant. Now they are much more." Jake's stomach began churning. This was horrible. Non-consensual experiments on humans. When the Level 6 tour was finished, Jake was completely devastated. But worse was coming. Dr. Vasquez took Jake to Level 7. Level 7 was a nightmare. Hundreds of test subjects, different stages of transformation, some barely recognizable as human. Advanced specimens were demonstrating telekinetic abilities. Objects floating in the air, metal bending. "Where do these subjects come from?" Jake asked. "Various sources, missing persons, homeless, volunteers who signed waivers thinking it was regular medical research. Some are military personnel who volunteered for enhancement programs." Jake's blood turned cold. "Military personnel?" "Yes. We are creating super soldiers, Sergeant. Enhanced strength, telepathic abilities, extended lifespan. Next level warfare." Jake realized that he himself could be a potential subject. Everyone who saw Level 7 either became part of the project or... "Sergeant Morrison," Dr. Vasquez said, "you are now part of the classified program. You have a choice. Participate as a volunteer or become an involuntary subject. Ma'am, this is illegal. Geneva Convention, Nuremberg Code. This is on American soil. Our rules." Jake panicked. He began making an escape plan. During the night shift, Jake tried to collect evidence with a USB drive. He downloaded photos and documents from lab computers. But the security system was very sophisticated. While Jake was reviewing research files, he discovered the horrifying truth. Named Project Genesis, it had been ongoing since the 1970s. Thousands of subjects had been tested. Success rate was 15%. The rest died or became vegetables. Successful subjects were being used for different missions: infiltration, assassination, reconnaissance, the government's own super soldier army. Jake also discovered that one of the test subjects was familiar. Private Tommy Chen, his friend from his previous unit. Tommy was reported to have died in a training accident in 2017, but he was on Level 7, completely transformed. Jake went to see Tommy. Tommy was conscious but barely recognizable. Eyes completely black, skin grayish, telepathic abilities developed. When Tommy saw Jake, Mental communication began. "Jake, do you remember me?" Jake could hear the voice in his head. "Tommy, you were dead." "No. They brought me here. Volunteered for enhancement program. But this is torture, Jake. Stop them." "How?" "Collect evidence. Expose them. But careful. They're watching." Jake collected more evidence during night shifts. Video recordings, medical files, subject lists, everything saved to USB drive. But he was caught. Dr. Vasquez and security team surrounded Jake. "Sergeant Morrison, you're charged with unauthorized data collection. These are illegal experiments on humans. The world needs to know this." "The world doesn't need to know anything, Sergeant." Jake was detained, kept in solitary confinement. But he had an escape plan. Thanks to Tommy's telepathic abilities, Jake could communicate with other enhanced subjects. They planned a mass escape. At midnight, enhanced subjects created a distraction. They disabled security systems with telekinetic powers. Jake escaped and took the USB drive with him. But escape wasn't easy. Getting out of Area 51 was nearly impossible. 150 kilometers in the desert, no water, extreme conditions. Jake started walking. He had a GPS device and headed toward the nearest highway, but military search teams were pursuing him. After 24 hours, Jake collapsed, dehydration and exhaustion. But a civilian trucker found him and took him to the nearest town. Jake immediately contacted investigative journalist Lisa Hamilton. He shared the evidence from the USB drive, but before the story could be published, Jake disappeared. Lisa Hamilton's investigation was also suddenly stopped. Government pressure. Project Genesis at Area 51 continued. Tommy and other subjects were still there, trapped. Jake's whereabouts unknown, listed as AWOL in official records, but no one knows where he really is. Dr. Vasquez is still the lead scientist. The project expanded. More subjects, more experiments. In 2023, leaked documents from an anonymous whistleblower appeared on social media, fragments from Jake's collected evidence, but they were quickly removed, labeled as disinformation. Area 51 is still active. Tours were banned, airspace restricted. But inside, experiments continue. Enhanced subjects waiting for rescue. Tommy still mentally communicates, hoping that someone will expose the truth. Jake's evidence is somewhere out there, waiting for the right person to reveal them. Government denial continues. No such experiments exist. But truth always finds a way, and the enhanced subjects are patient. They have time. Evolution doesn't stop. Waiting